Alright, hello. So this first video is for the do-it-yourself story problems, pages 1 through 3, and offering you what will go. So the instructions say to do all of the story problems and solve them. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 that way, and then there's some other stuff. For each of the story problems, it's asking you to circle one of the fractions, depending on how hard you want to make things for yourself. And write an expression. Use numbers, labeled visual models, or words to solve the problem, explain your strategy, and complete the sentence below with your solution to the problem. So I'll do each one, depending on which one you chose to do. I'm going to do them in order, so you can kind of skip through until I get to the one that you did. So if I'm looking at, alright, so it says it takes something of a cup of sugar to make a batch of cookies. I have 5 cups of sugar. How many batches of cookies can I make? Okay, so one thing I can do, I can maybe draw out, so let's do a half. So this would be 5 divided by 1/2. These are my cups of sugar. This is my 1 cup of sugar. So I have a total of 5 there, and I'm going to split each one into half. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I can make 10 batches of, So I can make 10 batches of cookies. So that was for a half. Oh, that's where my coloring doesn't go. Let's see, for 1/4. We can do the same sort of strategy. Here's my cups. I have 5. I'm splitting them into 4ths. And then count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So again, each of these was 1 cup, 1 cup, 1 cup, and then I split them into 4ths. And that gives me, I could make 20 batches. Alright, what about 3/4? Well, I could do the work that, so the one I did for a 4th, I split everything into 4ths already. So these are my 5 cups of sugar. I've already split it into 4ths, and I could look at, well here, no, let me do something else for that one. Let me do the old number line. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to split this into 4ths. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I want to see how many 3/4 go into 5. So I have 1, 2, 3/4. So this is 1, 1, 2, 3/4, 2, 1, 2, 3/4, 3, 1, 2, 3/4, 4, 1, 2, 3/4, 5, 1, 2, 3/4, 6, 1, 2, 3/4, 7. It looks like there. Is that right? I'm not convinced. I think 6 went in, and then there was 2/4 left. So maybe 6.5. Didn't you see that there? Let me think about this. Is there another way to think about this? Well, I can think about how many fourths are in 5. So 5 equals 20 fourths. So I can rewrite it as 24ths divided by 3/4. So how many 3/4 are in 24th? And 3 doesn't go into 20, so I think I messed this up. So I think it was 6, right? Because that would be 18/4, and then there'd be 2/4 left over, so that we can make 6½ batches. 6 1/2. Man, when it's not a unit fraction, it gets a little complicated. Now, we don't have to do, it's not mandatory for us to master non-unit fractions, so common fractions with whole numbers. But that's something if you want to challenge yourself. So let me try 3/8 and see if I can do that one, this next one better. I forgot to write that. So this 5 divided by 1/4 and 5 divided by 3/4, and this one is 5 divided by 3/8. So again, I'm going to give myself more room. I think that was the problem. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so I have to split it into 8ths. So it'd be 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oops, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to do it in a different color here. So we're looking for 3/8. So if I go 1, 2, 3, that's 3/8. And that's 1. 1, 2, 3. This is 3/8. 1, 2, 3. That's 3/8. 1, 2, 3. That's 3/8. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 3/8. 1, 2, 3. 3/8. 1, 2, 3. 3/8. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's see, there's a 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's check this again now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It looks about like 13. But let me think of this one more time. If I think of 8s, so see, this one's, I don't think the number line is good enough for this. It's just, I need a bigger space so I don't make it all teeny tiny. Because I'm going to make it all teeny tiny, I make mistakes. Alright, so let's think of 5 is how many 8s? It is 48s, and we're looking to see how many 3/8 go into that. Again, just looking at that, 3 does not go into 40, so I can't have a whole number there. So 3/8, how many times does 3 go into 40? I know it, what probably goes 13 times, but then I also have an 8 left over. Right, because I can say 3/8 times 13 equals 39/8, and then I can go 48 minus 39/8 equals 1/8. So that tells me it's 13 1/8 batch of cookies. So probably I would just say 13 would be correct. But 13 1/8 would be even more correct. Okay. See if each one takes that one. Alright. Road repair crew fixed half of a mile of road per day. How many days will it take them to fix a stretch of road that is? Okay, so this is a grouping one. Like, yeah. So this one, the first one was sharing. So we have 4 divided by a half. We'll do 5 divided by a half. 6.5 divided by a half. And 8 3/4 divided by a half. Okay. So I think I'm going to think through this. Hold on a second. I think because I'm doing so many problems, I'm going to try and be a little bit more efficient in my thinking here. So I'm going to put 4 divided by a half. How many halves are in 1? Okay, I can say 2 halves. And then since I'm looking at 4 miles, then I can say 4 times 2 equals 8. So that would be 8 days to fix the road. If we're looking at 5 divided by a half, how many? So 1/2 in 1 equals 2. There's 2 halves in 1. 5 times 2 equals 10. So that would be 10 days. So there's a, well, there's 2 halves in 1. We're doing 5 miles times 2. Okay. What about 6.5? So there are 2, we can almost say that 2 halves in 1. I'm doing 6.5. So then I can take 2 times 6 and 1/2. And that is the same as 2 times 6 plus 2 times 1/2. And that's going to give me 12 plus 1, or 13 days. And then we have 8 3/4. So I can, there's 2 halves in 1. I can then say 2 times 8 3/4. And that is equal to 2 times 8 plus 2 times 3/4. That's going to give me 16 plus 6/4, which is what, 1.5? Yep. So that's going to give me 17.5 days. 17.5 days. Alrighty. How many of these servings are there in a quart of ice cream? 4 cups in a quart. So we can do 4 divided by a half. 4 divided by a third. 4 divided by a fourth. And then, never mind. 4 divided by 2/3. Why did some of this work up here? If we look at the first one, if we set up each one the same, so when I have cups, it's kind of like that first one I did. This is my cup, 1 cup. If you look at the first one, it's half. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 half cups in 4. So I can do 8 servings. If I looked at thirds, so I'm going to do that again and make my cups. One cup. And then I'm looking at how many thirds. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Four divided by 4, or divided by 1/4. So I have 1 cup, 2 cups, 3 cups, 4 cups. Divided in the fourth. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And finally 4 divided into 2/3. One cup. This is my second cup. My third cup. And my fourth cup. And then I'm going to do thirds again. I'm going to see how many 2/3 go into that. So that's 1. What if I switch back and forth colors, if that would be easier. That's my second. Can you tell the difference in those colors? I think so. Good. That's my third. That's my fourth. That's my fifth. Oh, good. This is going to be equal. It's nice when it's equal. Sixth. So you can have 6 servings. If you're 2 1/3 cup is a serving. All right. Little Snail's going to visit his friend over the next pond, 3 miles away. He can crawl 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, 3/4, or 2/3 of a mile per day. How many days will it take him to get there? So again, we can do 1/2. Okay, no, sorry. So again, we have 3, and we're either going to divide it into 1/2, 1/3, 4 into 4ths, into 3/4, and into 2/3. I don't have a lot of space to work here, so I am going to try to be a little bit more efficient here. So there is 2 1/2 and 1. And I'm looking for 3 miles. That's going to give me Oh wait, what am I doing here? So if I'm looking to see how many halves are in 1, I know that that answer is 2. Okay. Then I know I'm looking for 3 miles. So then I know it's going to take 6 days. If I look at the thirds, I know that there is 3 thirds in 1, and I'm doing that in 3 days, so that's going to give me 9 days, or 3 miles away, sorry, so that would take 9 days. What about 1/4? So I know in 1/4 there are, or in 1 there are 4 1/4. So that means it's going to take, if it was 1 mile, it would take me 4 days to get there. And so then I'm doing 3 miles, so that's going to say 12 days. Let's look at 3/4. Well, I know, let's see, how would I go about figuring that out? I wonder if, here, let's think of it. If I have the number 3, I can say that is equal, so I'm looking at fourths here, to 12/4. I'm looking at 3/4, right? So I'm saying 12/4. How many 3/4 are there? Looks like to be 4. So that would mean it would take me 4 days to get there. And then finally, 3 2/3. So in thirds, I can write 3 as 9/3 divided by 2/3. So how many 2/3 are there in 9/3? Well, 4 2/3 would be 8/3, and I'd have a third left over. Right? So there'd be 4 and then 1/3 left. So it would take 4 and 1/3 day to get there. Okay, for this one, I'm not going to write a story problem for each one, but I will solve each problem down here. So first, 10 divided by 1/2. So how many halves are there in 10? So again, I know that if I have 1 of something, and I want to know how many halves there are in that, that's going to give me 2. There are 2 halves in 1, and if I'm looking at 10 of those things, then I'm going to have 20. So if you did like, it takes a half mile, it takes a snail, 1 day to go half a mile. How many miles can he travel in 10 days? Or he needs to go 10 miles. He's going half mile per day. How many days is it going to take him? Something like that. Let's look at 12 divided by 1/3. So if I have, again, in my 1, I'm looking for how many thirds there are. There are 3. And then I'm having a total of 12 of them, so that would give me 36. And 20 divided by 1/4. So again, in 1, I know there are 4/4. And I'm looking for 20 of those, and that will give me 80. And then, 24 divided by 2/3. Okay, so I'm going to try doing it this way. What color didn't I use? But I'm going to do it over here. Okay, so how many thirds are in 1? I'm just saying 1. Because with unit fractions, we should know how many unit fractions are in a whole. Hopefully you've seen that pattern here, and hopefully you know what it is anyway. So I'm first going to look at 1/3, and then I'm going to do something, and it might, we'll see. So we have, how many thirds are in 1? We have 3 thirds that are in 1. I'm looking at 24 things. So that can be broken down into 3 times 20 plus 3 times 4, which is 60 plus 12, which is 72. Now 72 is not our answer. That's how many thirds are in 24. However, if we look at the relationship between 1/3 and 2/3, 2/3 is double 1/3, right? If I have two sets of 1/3, that equals 2/3. So 2/3 is double 1/3. Because the size of what I'm looking for is double, I can just take half of this number, and that's going to give me 36. So your answer would be 36. There are 36 2/3 in the number 24. All right.